there, so I remember attending the first round of her match, which was a tough match at the U.S. Open, and then I went back home, and then I was contemplating coming back, and I wanted to witness her win because I think she has such an amazing head on her shoulders and the game, and I think she has a voice and a platform that's going to,
When Alex Eala was just 5 years old, she stood beside Maria Sharapova and asked for a photo, a simple childhood moment that seemed no different from countless others. At the time, no one could have imagined that the little girl from the Philippines smiling beside a 5-time Grand Slam champion would one day create a remarkable story of her own. Yet between that innocent photograph and a memorable night at Wimbledon years later, everything changed. To truly appreciate that journey, you have to look beyond the headlines and rewind to the very beginning. Before the sold-out stadiums, before Miami fans unexpectedly chanted Alex's name instead of hometown favorite Jessica Pegula, before Novak Djokovic noticed the massive crowds gathering outside her matches and described the overwhelming interest as a good problem to have. It was long before Coco Gauff praised her for attracting an entirely new audience to women's tennis, and before Billie Jean King, one of the sport's greatest legends, encouraged a young Filipina to keep believing in herself. Alex Eala's remarkable rise began with a dream that lived on the wall of her childhood bedroom. Hanging above her desk was a poster of Maria Sharapova, the player she admired more than anyone else. Eala has often described that poster as a fifth-grade inspiration, explaining that Sharapova was the athlete she looked up to and competitor whose determination to chase every ball shaped her own mindset. On the practice courts of the Philippines, she spent countless hours trying to imitate her idol, never realizing that one day she would follow a path that would inspire millions of young tennis players around the world. Most children who pin a picture of their favorite sports star on the wall never get the chance to meet that person, let alone follow in their footsteps. Alex Eala was different. At only 13 years old, she made the life-changing decision to leave the Philippines and enroll at Rafael Nadal's academy in Mallorca, Spain. She traded the comforts of home and a normal teenage life for demanding 6-hour training sessions on clay courts, chasing a dream that was still taking shape. Eala has often spoken about the incredible experience of watching Rafael Nadal train every single day, learning not just from his talent but from his relentless discipline and determination. Being surrounded by that level of greatness helped shape the player she would become, although fame was still a long way off. For years, she remained a promising name known mainly within tennis circles, earning respect through junior tournaments and academy reports while staying largely unnoticed by the wider public. Talent alone doesn't guarantee global recognition. Every great athlete needs a defining breakthrough. For Alex Eala, that breakthrough arrived at the 2025 Miami Open. Entering the tournament ranked outside the world's top 100, she wasn't expected to challenge the sport's biggest names. Instead, she stunned the tennis world by defeating 3 Grand Slam champions in succession, Jelena Ostapenko, Madison Keys, and world number 1 Iga Swiatek, to reach the semifinals in one of the tournament's most remarkable Cinderella runs. Few believed a wild card could produce such an extraordinary performance, but Eala proved everyone wrong. Her semifinal against Jessica Pegula became another unforgettable chapter. Although Pegula was competing in her hometown event, she later admitted the atmosphere felt as if she were the visiting player because a crowd overwhelmingly rallied behind Eala. Pegula even recalled looking toward her team during the match, amazed by the enormous support the young Filipina had attracted. While Eala ultimately fell short of reaching the final, the outcome hardly mattered. By then, her historic run had already transformed her career forever. She became the first Filipina to break into the WTA Top 100, and only months later added another milestone by winning her opening round match at the US Open, becoming the first Filipina to win a main draw singles match at the tournament. In just one unforgettable season, Alex Eala rewrote Philippine tennis history and inspired a passionate global fan base that continued to grow far beyond her home country. By the start of the 2026 season, the massive crowds following Alex Eala were no longer a surprise. They had become a consistent part of every tournament she entered. Her growing popularity had reached a level that even the biggest names in tennis could no longer ignore. During the Australian Open, Novak Djokovic, the 24-time Grand Slam champion, was asked about the remarkable attention surrounding the young Filipina. Rather than brushing the question aside, he acknowledged that he had witnessed the excitement firsthand. Djokovic spoke about the packed courts, the incredible atmosphere, and the growing number of fans turning up to watch Eala play. More importantly, he He explained that her rise represented something much bigger than individual success. According to Djokovic, players like Eala were introducing tennis to entire nations that had never before had a homegrown star to rally behind, creating new generations of passionate fans. Coming from one of the greatest champions the sport has ever known, it was a powerful recognition that women's tennis was evolving, with Alex Eala becoming one of the key figures driving that change. The trend continued in Dubai. Jessica Pegula captured the tournament title by defeating Elina Svitolina in the final, a victory that should have made the spotlight entirely haze. Yet even during her championship press conference, many of the questions shifted back to Eala and the extraordinary fan support that had followed her throughout the event. Instead of showing frustration, Pegula responded with admiration. She described Eala as an incredible player and praised the way she handled the expectations of an entire nation with remarkable maturity, humility, and gratitude. Pegula even said she hoped to invite Eala onto a podcast to discuss the experience in greater depth. Around the same time, Coco Gauff also spoke highly of the young Filipina after facing her on court. Gauff publicly thanked Eala for bringing a completely new audience into women's tennis, acknowledging that competing in front of such a passionate and one-sided crowd was challenging, but emphasizing that the excitement surrounding Eala was ultimately a positive development for the sport and a sign of tennis reaching more people than ever before. When two of the most accomplished young stars in women's tennis deliver the same message in the same week, it becomes clear that the conversation has moved beyond hype. Alex Eala's impact was becoming impossible to ignore, but even those moments would soon be overshadowed by what happened at Wimbledon in 2026. In the third round, Eala faced defending champion and world number 1 Iga Swiatek, the same opponent she had shocked during her breakthrough run in Miami the previous year. This time, there were no surprises. Swiatek knew exactly what kind of player stood across the net, yet Eala still rose to the occasion. She claimed a stunning straight sets victory, winning a dramatic first-set tiebreak before closing out the match 6-2 in the second set. The result became one of the biggest upsets of the tournament and made Alex Eala the first Filipino player, male or female, to reach the Wimbledon round of 16 in the Open era. Then the story came full circle in a way that seemed almost too perfect to be real. Just hours after the historic victory, Maria Sharapova, the childhood idol whose poster once hung above Eala's desk and the same champion she had admired since asking for a photo as a little girl, shared her reaction with the world. She didn't write a long message or deliver an emotional speech. Instead, she posted just 2 simple words: "What a star." Those 2 words carried enormous significance because they came from one of the greatest champions in tennis history, a 5-time Grand Slam winner who had inspired generations of young players but rarely offered such public praise. For the little girl who once dreamed of becoming like Sharapova, it was a moment that symbolized just how far she had come. The recognition didn't end there. Billie Jean King also celebrated Eala's remarkable achievement, spending time with her after the Wimbledon victory and publicly praising her historic run. King, whose legendary Battle of the Sexes victory became one of the defining moments in sports history, described meeting Eala as a genuine pleasure and called her an inspiration not only for young athletes in the Philippines but for children around the world. Coming from 2 of the most influential women the sport has ever known, those words confirmed that Alex Eala was no longer simply a rising talent. She had become one of tennis' brightest new stars. Billie Jean King ended her message with 4 simple but powerful words: asterisk, asterisk, keep going for it. Asterisk, asterisk, coming from a Hall of Famer who has spent decades breaking barriers and creating opportunities for future generations, those words meant far more than a kind social media caption. They represented one of the greatest figures in tennis, recognizing the extraordinary potential of a young player whose journey was only beginning. Yet Alex Eala's story isn't one of uninterrupted success, because the most meaningful careers rarely follow a perfect script. Just days after her unforgettable victory over defending champion Iga Swiatek at Wimbledon, Eala's remarkable run came to an end in the round of 16 with a hard-fought 3-set loss to Jasmine Paolini. In less than 48 hours, she experienced both the highest point of her career and the disappointment of falling just short of a place in the quarterfinals. It's the emotional reality that highlight videos often leave out. The exhilaration of making history followed almost immediately by the pain of defeat. After the tournament, analysts praised Eala's fearless shot-making and competitive spirit, but also pointed out the areas where she still needed to improve. Her serve, in particular, remained one of the biggest challenges in her game, with many experts believing it would need to become a far more reliable weapon as she hoped to consistently compete for the sport's biggest titles. But that's exactly what makes a journey so compelling. Alex Eala is not a finished product. At just 21 years old, she is still developing, learning, and evolving under the spotlight of millions of fans who witness both her breakthroughs and her setbacks. Every victory brings new expectations, while every defeat offers another lesson. So where does that leave her today? She hasn't reached the summit of the sport, at least not yet. Instead, she stands at one of the most important stages of any athlete's career, where the future remains unwritten. She has the opportunity to build on a remarkable rise and establish herself among the game's elite. But like every young star before her, she must continue closing the gap between enormous potential and lasting greatness. That next chapter will ultimately determine whether her inspiring breakthrough becomes a foundation of a legendary career. What sets Alex Eala apart from so many talented young players whose early promise eventually fades is a remarkable group of people who have chosen to speak about her. These aren't casual fans or media personalities. They are some of the most respected figures in the history of tennis. Novak Djokovic, a 24-time Grand Slam champion, personally witnessed the extraordinary crowds gathering around Eala's matches and recognized the impact she was having on the sport. Jessica Pegula, one of the world's top players, admitted that playing against Eala felt like competing on the road because of the overwhelming support the young Filipino received, even in Pegula's own home tournament. Coco Gauff praised Eala for bringing an entirely new audience to women's tennis, recognizing that her popularity was expanding the game's reach rather than simply creating excitement around one player. Then there was Maria Sharapova, the 5-time Grand Slam champion whose poster once hung on Eala's childhood bedroom wall. Years after posing for a photo with a 5-year-old fan, Sharapova publicly described that same little girl as star. That full-circle moment is what makes Alex Eala's journey feel so extraordinary. It isn't a carefully crafted marketing campaign or a story manufactured for headlines. It's a real-life continuation of a childhood dream, with one photograph connecting 2 generations of tennis history. No one can predict whether Eala will one day lift a Grand Slam trophy or become the world's #1 player. Those chapters have yet to be written. But what can already be said with confidence is that her rise has been one of the most remarkable stories in recent tennis history. In little more than a year, she climbed from outside the world's top 100 to becoming a player whose performances inspired spontaneous praise from legends and champions across multiple generations. That recognition wasn't created by hype or speculation. It was earned on the court, witnessed by millions, and recorded as part of the sport's history. Whatever comes next, Alex Eala has already proven that she belongs on tennis' biggest stage, and her story is only just beginning.